if it's not too much to ask, I will ask you just a few questions.
Absolutely.
Performing these kind of stunts can be really taxing on you. Do you partake in any exercise routine to keep in shape?
Yeah, I've always enjoyed exercise, hiking, running, yoga, and stuff like this. And in the last year and a half, I've started to do weightlifting. So I do that about 3 or 4 times a week. Pretty, classic weightlifting, I guess, where I have a leg day, back day, arm day, and then I do my cardio in addition to that. The hard part is actually because, like, after you do a leg day, for instance, your whole body is just so exhausted, and so I'm trying to ride 4 or 5 times a week, and then also trying to do the weightlifting. So it's kind of a balancing act, so you're not just completely exhausted for one or the other.
These stunts, what made you decide to perform stunts like these?
Well, I started riding a sport bike when I moved to New York City for university, and my friends also were sport bike riders, and they were pulling crazy wheelies on the highway. And I always thought wheelies were awesome and so cool, and I wanted to do one, but I didn't want to learn on the public streets like they did, because they all had really terrible accidents eventually. So I decided I don't want that to be me. So I moved to Los Angeles and actually went to an XDL event, which is our championship series in America. And after I saw people doing the actual sport, I just became hooked, and now, it's all I do.
Apart from performing stunts, is there anything else you love doing? And would you have focused on that instead if you weren't performing these stunts?
Sure, yeah, there's a lot of things I love doing. I grew up riding horses competitively, very seriously, and that's still something I consider a huge passion of mine, and hopefully I can own a horse again someday. And I also love doing art, painting and drawing and photography, video work, but it's kind of nice because being a stunt rider, since it's such a new thing, you have to do everything yourself. So I do my own marketing, my own PR, I do my own video work, photo work, I'm always planning my own shoots and stuff like that. So it's a really fun way to integrate my other interests into my daily chores and things.
So you perform all these stunts, right? And you've definitely faced any major obstacle in your life, like ever, and has it ever made you want to give up on performing all these stunts?
Yeah, I mean, it's a battle for numerous reasons. One, it's a new thing, so people don't know about it or they don't understand it, so you're kind of pioneering this new sport, which has its ups and downs. And then additionally, kind of being self-employed, you have to, I don't have a manager or anything helping me, so there's a lot to take on, and that can get overwhelming sometimes and sometimes frustrating. And then, being a female rider also has both sides, some good and some bad. Sometimes being in the spotlight and having everyone kind of saying good and bad things can kind of wear you down. But definitely over the last couple of years since I started doing it professionally, and since we started stuntbums.com, I get way more support than any people saying negative things. So it's become easier and easier as I go.
Being a female rider, like you said, do you face any sort of discrimination when you're performing stunts?
Yeah, I would say there's a lot of ways that makes it more difficult, especially when you're trying to make a living doing it. You have to be very careful about how you present yourself, and I'm always very adamant that I'm a rider first and a female second, so I don't get excluded from things or treated differently. I don't want to ride in a skirt or a dress or anything like that, so I want to be a sport bike rider first and foremost.
Looking at your bike previously, what kind of bike would you rather ride if you're not performing stunts? Would it be that bike or?
Yeah, I love it's a 2004 Kawasaki ZX6R 636 Ninja, so that's an amazing bike, and I've been on it for a couple years. I really love it. I've had a couple of them, but I just actually in the last month got a 2013, so it's the same exact bike, Kawasaki Ninja 636, but it's a decade newer, so it's like magical riding it, you know. So I can't wait to get back and ride that for sure.
What kind of bike would you recommend as a starter stunt bike to people who just want to start out stunt biking?
Yeah. Well, since we're in Singapore and you guys have a lot smaller bikes normally, scooters and stuff like that, and people are always asking me if those are good bikes to learn on, and they really are. A lot of Europeans start on smaller 50cc and 125cc bikes, and it teaches you some really fundamental skills that, you know, once you get into a place where you can buy a big bike, the skills will go right over and you'll just be like having a good level, you know, on the big bike. So really anything that, you know, you can get a crash cage on and that's going to be sturdy enough to stand you learning. But the ideal sport bikes to learn on are the Honda F4i and the Kawasaki 626.
You've been in Singapore for how many days?
Since Wednesday, so 4 days.
4 days. Yeah. So have you found any interesting thing about our country?
Absolutely. This place is very interesting. I've been to a lot of major cities around the world, and I think it's really unique because you guys have so many different cultures coming together, and it's not, you know, there's not one outweighing the other. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of equality, I guess. So I really like that, and we went to Little India, and I can't wait to go see all the other little kind of factions you have in your city, because it's really cool to kind of test all these different cultures in one place.
So what is the one thing that you love most about our country?
Well, so far the food definitely is pretty good. Yeah.
Like 6 hard costs about 25 grand over here.
Yeah, that's what people were telling me. It's crazy.
What's your opinion on that?
We haven't been anywhere that we can't get to easily.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not familiar with all of your import fees and taxes and all the rules around that. But it definitely makes me grateful to live in America, where we can have a lot of options and a lot of flexibility modifying our bikes. We can do whatever we want, you know, and there's no one telling us what to do. So, you know, certainly grateful for that. And, you know, hopefully you guys find some loopholes or something, and so more people can get stunt riding, you know. But I mean, it's when you have different obstacles like that, like new things are able to be born, you know. So maybe as stunt riding develops here, you guys will have some crazy style or some different thing you do that's uniquely Singaporean.
Finally, to end this off, what would you advice be to aspiring young bikers who want to try out stunt biking in Singapore?
Stunt riding? Well, I always say to find people who are already doing it. So try and become friendly with people who know how to do wheelies or who have a place to ride, you know, all these things. Because really working together is how you succeed and how you learn from each other. And beyond that, you know, go online, watch videos on YouTube and ask questions to riders. You know, a lot of pro riders are still really friendly online, and they'll answer questions and stuff so they can help you get on the right track.
Okay, that is really good advice for our viewers out there. So it was really a pleasure interviewing you, Miss Leah Petersen.
Thank you so much. Check out SingaSports.com. Experience sports, experience more.